Good evening. If you could stand for the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll move on to number 3. Is there any changes on the agenda? You had time to take a look at it, I'm assuming. I know Cindy would like to add executive session under the police department. So we'll make that change. If not, I need a motion on approving the agenda with the change, or amending the agenda with adding the executive session under number 7, police department.
I'll motion to approve the agenda with the exception of adding an executive session under number 7, police department.
I'll second.
Julia? Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We'll move on to number 4, approve October 3rd meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve October 3rd meeting minutes.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We'll move on to number 5, public input.
I have public input. Couple things I would suggest, or at least more so have you maybe take a look at. As I was going through some of the research that I had from FOIAs and stuff, some of the minutes in the past were not exactly accurate. They do have devices now that they'll record the audio of the meeting and then it will transcribe it into written form. So that might be a backup for having somebody take the minutes, but that way you can compare the two. I don't know how expensive it is, but it might be something you guys might be interested in doing. And I think that's, I would suggest, and David's not here, maybe rework the warrant, the way the warrant's set up. Because when I was going through the warrant form, you may want to use the numbers where it spreads across the departments, and instead of just like Wanda's shorts or so-and-so's underwear or whatever kind of thing, it's a little more professional looking. And that would, I mean, you guys could come up with that. Like I said, I think there's a form that it has numbers that goes to like the police department or whatever that the state provides that you might be able to use, and that would maybe make a better warrant form. Just some observations that I made. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public input? If not, we'll move on to number 6, finance office. 6A, motion to approve purchase of Banyan software per their proposal to include the UV light software, UV light AMR interface, the meter reads, the UV light online pay module, includes the support service for $6,900.
This all has to be held until January. It's in the next year's budget.
So do we have to order it now or not?
I don't think we can because it's coming out of next year's budget, correct?
So we just table it till then?
I guess, do you have an answer? I don't know.
Next week, use money out of this year's general fund and then, you know,
If we didn't, would we have to start next year in our current software and then have to change over to that? Would it be easier to transfer into that going into the new year, or would that be an issue?
I guess I'm just not sure how it has to be approved because it's not in this year's budget.
That's my question, would just be ease of transferring everything. Do we want to have to do that after the fact that we've already entered that new year, or do we want to have it ready by then?
be nice to have it ready by the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I mean, my concern with that would be is you have to pay for the new programs that start in the year, especially the payroll program, it only runs for a year.
Okay,
So
so either way.
depending on when you start it, I guess we just don't want to end up having to pay for the initial software to start the year and then transfer things over.
Right.
That would just be my concern.
The question is can we pay for something for next year in this year's budget?
I think before I answer that, I think we're going
Just
to table until the following meeting.
Mhm.
We got
That's
some
why I'm
time.
curious, but I didn't know if that
Yeah.
had been done before, so that's all.
I'll check into it.
I'd like to have Dave here too
Yep.
for that.
Yep. So with that being said, we'll table number 6A, B, and C, and D, and then we'll need number E if we need executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2, 1 personnel.
I'll make the motion to enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-2, 1 personnel.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We are in executive session at 6:07 PM.
Because that's
You
all
can
help
crowd.
I can provide.
All right, we're out of executive session at 6:29 PM. Is there any other discussion before we move on? Okay,
I will make a motion to hire Chris Hedden at $16 an hour effective immediately,
I'll second it.
with a roll call vote.
okay. Any other discussion? All in, Brian?
Aye.
I'm gonna do a roll call.
Aye.
Julia?
Aye.
Cindy?
Aye.
Darla?
Aye.
Kendra?
Aye.
Carrie?
Abstain.
Okay. Motion passed. We'll move on to H, the old school building utility discussion. In your handouts, Jamie sent an email to Dave. I was not really involved in this before Dave took off, so I don't really know what was all discussed. But you don't either. So in the email, I'll just read it in short. Dave, attached is an invoice for the city, 50% share of utilities for July 22 through June 2023. I have also attached a spreadsheet with the calculations. This is payable to the Alcester Hudson School District. And this is from Jamie Shemp. He is on the industrial board.
And we have paid that in the
Correct.
past.
Yep.
This doesn't look any higher than it did last year.
No,
I mean, like astronomically,
no.
from what I remember when I was calculating for the budget. The gas is a little higher, but I'm assuming it's just because it was so cold last winter.
Yeah, that's understandable.
And we don't pay rent. Our responsibility is this, the mowing and the snow removal out here at this point. So in a sense, this is our rent.
Yeah.
But it has been discussed, all of you, and I think everybody is aware that they would like the city to take over the existing part of the high school, and the old part is taken down. So something for you to all think about.
I did do some checking here, and with Abigail's help, I was able to find out that we do have a boiler system in this part, so it's separate from that. So we'll still have heat. Right?
Heat is good.
When's the last time that boiler was inspected?
Past couple months, actually.
Oh, really?
So what have they been pumping out of the bathrooms? Is that to get ready over there?
Yeah, we have to reroute all the water lines. All
okay.
the sewer is fine, but water goes into the old park. So they have to redo all of that in order to get water to just this bathroom even. So-
Because it's in the back behind the guy's bathroom.
But that's not coming on us, is it?
I think they're taking.
At this
The
point.
industrial park.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, who knows? But
Well, just because if we're not interested in taking over this, I don't really wanna put money into rerouting water lines.
if this part's gonna stay up anyway, it needs to have lines rerouted. So whoever has it, it needs water lines.
Well, there's no motion on approving it. So,
I mean, since it's mentioned in the minutes, you can still make a motion on it, since the public had not, so it's discussed.
No, it should have been brought up in public input, or can we bring it up later? We've got to be making some decisions as to whether we're gonna stay here or maybe build a new building downtown. And how can we come up with financing to do that? I have no idea, but we're gonna have either that or buy this, and boy, this is huge. I talked to Bill Boyer, and just out of curiosity, I asked him how much it was gonna cost if his bid is accepted, and I don't know if he's the one that's doing it. It was either 102 or 104,000. Now, what it would cost to downsize this thing instead of heating or taking care of it all, I don't know. Then you'd have to put up another wall. And you got an old building, it might be just cheaper to put up a small building downtown where the dumpsters are. I don't know, we just gotta start thinking about this stuff.
I think when you're out and about, ask the community, you know, see what their thoughts are, where they would like the city office to be. I've been asking quite a few people myself, and, yeah, there's a number. I've heard a lot of people would like to see the city office on Main Street. I mean, we're at on Main Street, that's undecided, but that's where a large amount of, you know, people that I've talked to, that's where they'd like to see it. I did ask Dave his opinion, and he said this is the last place the city office should be. You know, and this, you know, so.
Apparently, he was asking some people, now mentioning names, but they know about this building, and he said, I'll stay away from it. A lot of issues.
I mean, it is.
What they mean by that, I don't know.
Yeah. I just foresee a lot of expense down the road,
I know it's leaking.
so.
Yeah, and if we had to replace the roof on this whole thing, it would probably be just about as cheap to put up a small building downtown.
Well, the size is just so much more. I mean, granted, we could explore renting out some of the other areas to other small businesses, right?
We
And
could,
they
but
would try-
they've
They
tried
tried
it.
it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just, and then you have to deal with that too. Something goes wrong, then you're a landlord for those people.
Like this, I have to take this.
Maybe the gal from
Oh,
Sioux Center, would you consider buying this place?
It was already mentioned, and I don't think she would be.
Okay.
She called here initially to find out if there are any businesses on Main Street available, and Pat had mentioned, well, we have some empty classrooms here, and she wasn't interested.
Okay. And I thought about the old cafe down there too, because I don't see a new cafe, or that cafe opening anytime soon. It would cost a fortune to.
That building's a lot older than this one.
That building needs a lot of
Yeah,
work too,
yeah, and you'd spend more to fix it up than what a small
That
building
roof
down
is-
there would cost.
Yeah, that thing leaks all over too.
Yeah, they have sewage
Yes.
issues too.
They ain't gonna have to freeze.
Yeah.
Well, of course, you know, we're not deciding anything on where the city office is going to be tonight, but it's definitely something that we need to consider where we'd like to see it in the future. So regardless of what we decide, if you would like to put something in the newspaper, try to get some feedback on the public.
Or maybe a small thing, and they could cut it out, and we have a place for them to put it, I don't know, whatever.
Put out a questionnaire on Facebook or something
Correct.
as well.
There you go.
I mean, the public should have a say.
Definitely.
I mean, I think if the public would have had a say before the auditorium got sold, I think we would have been surprised that a large amount of public would have said, let's keep the auditorium.
I still hear
I
comments on
still
that quite
do too.
often.
So-
Quite often.
And they're, and Alcota really messed up when they took the forklift in there.
I don't know if I heard about it.
Because they put a bunch of on the gym floor.
That floor's not.
Oh, that's
shelving,
right, I do remember.
And then they took the thing and went,
Oh,
Well, we ready?
Well,
All right.
we can make a motion on approving, paying this utility bill. So if one of you would like to make a motion on paying it, we sure we can.
I'll make a motion to pay the Alcester Hudson School $2,268.93 for utilities of this, half of the utilities of this building.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5 passed and 1 was absent at the current moment. Kendra was absent. We'll move on to number 7, Police Department with Chief Thompson.
So, according to Abby, and I had mentioned trying to get like an electronic or a key card access for the PD front door, that Dale was looking at doing that for all the city buildings.
Dave.
Dave, someone. So that's why it got tacked onto my section. Just for like the PD, if I gotta run out for an emergency, it's kind of a pain to stop and lock 2 separate locks before I can take out. Make sure the door's secure. So having key card access makes it so the door's always locked and in and out quicker. I don't know about the other buildings for Dave.
Dave's concern was with all the talk going around town and people's concerns, and with the amount of people who have come and gone from employment recently, maybe just overall changing locks, keeping better control over who has keys. The reason we included this picture in your packet is I found a keyless entry door lock that has the option to pin or key fobs. And personally feel like a fob would be easier to control than trying to program pins for people. Like on a door like the PD, the part-timer was working, they could check out a key fob. As opposed to programming that pin and then deactivating that pin when they left.
This what we have a system like this where I work, and it is way easier. And I know some of them, depending on which one you would go with, a lot of them have an app you can put on your phone too, that when you get close, it will automatically unlock the door.
Yeah. I mean, there's a ton of keyless entry
Yeah.
locks that use pins. This one I had seen, you could have a pin or you could use a fob. So that's why that one was included. But Dave was just concerned about keys floating around and that kind of thing, just overall making sure all the locks are secure and keys are under control. And when Jared brought up maybe having keyless entry on the PD, kind of mentioned, hey, if we're doing that one as well, look at everything.
So it makes sense.
Especially if we're not getting cameras like in here until next year.
So it makes sense to have everything kind of tied into the same system and
Mm.
so they have different ones everywhere.
Are we able to change the key of the front door since it's not our building?
It is our bill. Or this one you're saying?
The front door, like, is the industrial building?
Front door, I'm not sure.
This one.
This
we could.
this one.
Yes, that one I don't believe so. Because everybody that has access to the thrift store and
Right.
whatnot.
Yeah.
And the PFW uses
Yep.
it.
So I'd recommend if we would change locks and be that door.
I could always find out who we had do ours and get some numbers. I mean, we had, obviously our building's huge and we got a ton of access points, obviously. How many, we know how many doors we would want to do it to?
I don't know what
We
Dave
don't.
was thinking for the
If
city.
we can get that number, I can definitely get some numbers and see, because I think they provided the mechanism, all the programming and everything. So it should, I wouldn't think it'd be that bad if it's not that many doors.
And then the only other thing I had was more part-timer discussion. Another week in a row.
Can you make a note to ask Dave to look into the keyless entry? Just get a note of how many doors and
Could he let you know then?
talk to Brian
What's that?
He could let you know?
Yeah.
and then add it to the next agenda.
I know it was actually a
Thank you.
crew from Beersford that actually installed them too, so.
So have we had any more interest in cop? Any applications?
Full-timer,
Yeah?
not in over a week.
I haven't gone onto Dave's computer. They've been going to his emails.
I think we're going to discuss any police officer part-time, I might get an executive session.
Okay, sorry, you have a note down, Abigail? Perfect. Then I will make a motion to enter into executive session pursuant to SDCL 1-25-21 personnel.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are in executive session at 6:44 PM. We're out of executive session at 7 PM. With that being said, is there any other discussion or any motions to be made before we move on?
I make a motion to approve hiring part-time officer Kyle Kleinschmidt.
At a pay rate of $25 an hour.
Yes.
Do we cap, is it capped hours or just so many hours or?
Under-
Oh, okay, okay. I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm opposed.
5 yes, 1 opposed. Okay. Motion passed. We'll move on to number 8, city website renewal.
Can I just make one comment? I still would like to look into,
May I ask a question? Was that part-time or full-time?
Part-time.
Part-time, okay. Thank you.
Significant.
You can let me know, or one of us, whoever's gonna talk to Carter, whatever it costs.
See at least.
because she said she would check into it
So before we move on to number 8, there is something that needs to be, we have been discussing as a council, and the city is going to look into a bond cost for $3 million in regards to our law enforcement. So that's what we were discussing. If anybody would be watching Vicky's blog and wondering what are they talking about, that's what we're doing. So now we'll move on to number 8, city website renewal. Julia, you want to take it and run with it, or?
Sure.
I know Dave and you have kind of, I think Brian worked on it too a little bit.
Yeah, so I've been working on the Wix option. I didn't actually see the other option till today in the email, that one that I think, did you find that or did Dave find that? That other,
this one.
yeah.
I think they found it.
They found it? Okay. And I looked into that one, so I didn't have as much time to look into it. I looked into it today. It seems like a really good company. It seems pretty user-friendly. Comes with a lot of perks as far as them handling things. So if we want more of a hands-off approach, I'd say that would be the way to go rather than what I've been working on. What I've been working on through Wix is it is a lot cheaper, but it does require someone doing the work. And I'm happy to do that, but if I would, if someone would run against me and get it, we would have to have someone else who is willing to take that on and, use that software. So that is something to keep in mind. I emailed out the numbers and forgot to print myself off a copy of my own numbers, so I forgot that.
Print it off, my phone.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, green second.
But I think the numbers on, what was this one, $2,000 a year?
2010, is it?
Yeah, here, let me attach it. And depending on which option we went with Wix, I believe, there's different tiers of plans, of course. I broke down the two, I should say most low-cost tiers. And of those, it was like $1,000 for 3 years worth. It's a pretty minimal cost.
And I also, on the agenda, we talked about live streaming the meetings. I think it's a very good idea. A lot of people would like to see that throughout the community. Dave has talked about he would sure like to help out and do what he can do to see that happen. I would too. So whatever the website we go with, hopefully we can put it on the website. They would recognize whatever direction we go.
Dave did ask this company
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
I don't think I see an answer.
They did say, yeah, it was in, I haven't found it in the document yet, but I read it earlier. They said that they can't host it on the website because of the bandwidth issues. It would take too long to load, but they can directly connect it. So basically you would embed a YouTube video into the page. So definitely connectivity there.
But you can do that as well on Wix.
Yes, you can. Yeah, absolutely. Wix does have that option, and I think it would be a very similar thing. They won't host it themselves. We would still be doing it through YouTube. Oh. Thank you, Abigail.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the core plan was the one I was initially thinking. Now, that doesn't allow us the ability, that would be $684 if we paid for 3 years upfront. That doesn't include your URL. We do get one free year of URL. After that, it is usually around $10 to $25, depending on what, if we choose a .com, .net, depending on what we choose for that. Some of them cost more than others, so it would just be what we choose as a URL. And then there is another plan above this that is slightly higher, and then there's 2 more above that yet. A lot of that just comes down to data storage, which I don't really think we need a ton of data storage because we're not going to be, selling products or anything like that. The only thing that might be worth considering is being able to accept payments right through the website if that was an option. For now, the way I had it set up when I send it out is they would just click pay on there. It would take them to the website we are currently using, but I would have to do some more checking to see if that software is able to hook up with like a website such as this. So, but this company does, I checked out some of the other websites too that he said they had done, and they look like really well done, really nice, user-friendly websites. So, they look, it looks good. The cost seems a little high to me, I guess, but considering they basically do everything for you, that's what you're paying for.
So for example, if you did this, and we wanted the golf course, we wanted the community center, kind of really put into this, they do it. We just give them the information, or no?
I would
They
assume
do it,
so.
or either way that those
You
could be
could do
added.
it.
Yes.
It could be added.
Absolutely. I don't know how many things or how many, if they have a limit on how many different categories and branches and layers you can get into. I don't know on that, but I would assume they would be able to do something.
Enough for what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
All
sorry.
They do also offer facility and booking portion of their website under the other companies.
I'm at a council,
So
we had to go
if
back.
like you wanted to put a calendar up and somebody
Right.
wanted to book the
Community center.
community center, then the whole issue of who and when and double
It would be-
booking would kind
it
of
could be seen.
resolved.
Yeah.
And we could do that on Wix as well. And they do have the contact forms where someone can fill out forms right on there.
All right.
I think they even have the ability to actually e-sign now on there, which if you want to have them sign a contract and put a deposit down, I think that's even a possibility. I don't know if that's an extra cost though, but the forms are not, but I think the e-sign is an extra cost to that, but.
But is it something like if you started it and you get a handle on it, you could add it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can always
and
add
in a
anything.
small town, you don't really have an e-sign because you're gonna go there anyway, so, I mean.
They can just stop down here and sign the form, I mean.
There's a lot of stuff you can e-sign on for free anyway out there.
Yeah.
If you have Acrobat, you can e-sign.
True.
Well, I'm done with this, so you guys decide.
I think it's really just the price and how much time, like, to pay more would have somebody else do it or pay less and have Julie do it, is really what you're looking at for differences. The capability seems, and what they're listing here for like their amenities in their website, it's basically what Julie is doing, so.
And that said, once I have everything set up, it's not like I'm gonna have to teach someone completely how to use every aspect of it, it's just how to change things.
So could Dave help you, Brian help you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I've been at Wix before.
Yeah, it's a pretty user-friendly.
That's what it's designed for, is for like somebody who doesn't know how to build a website to go
Right.
and customize it.
It basically does like all the coding and back work for you.
Because that's part of our problem. Only one person has been able to do things. We need to have others.
There's no options with our current,
No.
Yeah,
it's not
Yeah, I don't even
customizable
think that
at
a
all.
one person can do it, it's that.
yeah.
And the Wix tiers too do include up to like so many logins. I mean, we could obviously just share logins with each other too if more than one person needs, but I think both of those tiers came with up to 5 people could have a login to it.
And if it came down to the, like, having the business things where people can pay online, we do still have PayGo. So if we wanted to just continue using PayGo, we could just link it.
That's what I have it set as right now, yeah.
Yeah.
So they just
So-
click it, it takes you right to that page, so.
Rather than paying more just to have that, like if there were other things that we wanted, great.
Right.
But paying more just to have that option, we do still have PayGo.
Absolutely.
I guess my thoughts are if Julie is willing to do it, and, you know, obviously I'd be willing to help out, or if there are some of us that could at least lend a hand with it, I think that'd be the smartest thing to do.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't think this company is going away, so even if we did a year with Wix and for some reason you couldn't do it or didn't want to do it or, you know, whatever, and we needed to find somewhere else, we'd have their information.
Yeah, and I mean, it could absolutely just be a bridge thing to get us by for a few years, and then if, you know, we want to review the budget in the future, to have someone else take it over,
Yeah.
you know.
I would, because you're willing to do it, I would also agree with that.
The only thing to consider is the picture, some of the pictures I used, the one on the homepage for sure was from a local photographer. If we wanted to use that photo, I would have to ask him how much he charges for usage rates on that, or we would have to get our own pictures, but I can go out and try to take some pictures around town too. And then the one on the history page, I don't know how historical photo rights work, because that picture's from like 1902 or something like that,
So there is a
I'd have to dig into
South
that.
Dakota Historical Society website that has public access photos. I actually have some
Oh.
on my phone that I found. I can't exactly remember what the website is, but they've got all sorts of historic photos on there, and that's all public domain.
Oh, great. Let's do that
At
too.
least the pictures are of Alcester.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No poetry to be found.
I think also if you just asked Carla Goldhill, she would probably give you any picture you wanted from anything she's
Oh.
ever taken. I don't think she would have any. I mean, ask her, of course, but she takes all the pictures for all the school events and
Oh,
everything
okay,
that
great.
goes on, and she, I don't know if she used to do it for the newspaper.
I think
She still does now.
She
So the
still
new
does.
newspaper she
Yeah,
does.
so I feel like if you would ask her, she would probably be more happy to get some of the pictures.
Perfect.
So Abigail, can you just make a note for Dave for the next agenda to add it to vote to pay for whatever you want to do?
For Wix specifically?
Well,
We can't, make a motion here.
Yeah.
oh, sorry, it's just a blank line.
That's on the-
Sorry.
Would it be a motion to,
We just have to decide.
I thought we were gonna go with the Wix
Core
for
plan.
now.
No, sorry, the core plan.
We just have to decide which tier we
Oh.
want and how many years, because you get a discount the longer you do it. So if we want to do it monthly, it's like, $34 a month. If you do it a year, so you get a discount the more you purchase at one time, essentially. And it's kind of a bummer because we just missed their 50% off sale, and I was super sad about it. It literally ended like 3 days ago, like, man.
Well, when does our website end? November?
I think November, soon, we've been getting a
Yeah.
lot of emails about it.
So would it be the, should we do it for a year? Or long, yeah?
Well, and if you'd like to look at the different tiers more, I can get printouts of like what's involved with everyone, otherwise it is on the link I sent.
Do
It's
you
just
feel
that-
confident in the core plan?
Yeah, I think it has plenty, as long as we're not worried about taking payments through the website right now, I think either of those plans would be just fine, honestly.
So why don't we do the 1 year of the core? And that way we can, you can, decide whether you're okay
It's
with
manageable.
everything, yeah.
Mhm.
And then,
More than likely, they'll have a sale when you need to renew anyway, so.
That's true, and there are some promo codes out there we can try, so.
so I'd say we just do that for the, I make a motion to approve paying $324 for a year subscription to Wix core plan.
We'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Move on to number 9, public hearing, Alcester Zoning Commission. I think, you want to talk about this a little bit, Austin?
So the way that our ordinances work, zoning, so our zoning commission needs to meet and approve plats and recommend approvals of ordinances. So, I mean, we've talked about, and they're in your packets, specifically the zoning. So the first one, I should say amend on all these, I see that I copied and pasted, it says amend instead of amend, I apologize about that. The chapter 4.1 specifically is the setbacks, that changes the side setbacks to 7 instead of, I believe the old one was 25, which seemed extremely excessive. So essentially, this is your opportunity to look it up, make amendments to them if you want, and then recommend approval to the city council, which as soon as the zoning board, after the approval and after they finish there, will reconvene as city council and then approve the ordinances. And then the plat itself, I don't know if you have a copy of the plat.
They're kind of scattered around.
Yeah. So these are the plat from the quiet title action. It's still not completely closed, but the next step as a part of it is to approve the plat for the quiet title action. Lawrenson and Beersford, South Dakota did the survey of it. If you have any questions about it, I'd be happy to answer. But I think first, we should just go through.
I've got a whole.
We should just go through it. Let's see.
You know, I don't know.
Not yet, we'll get to the plat section.
I think
That's
they're all the
sheet
same
though.
too, yeah.
So let's just start.
2 pages.
So we have to go
No, they all
Maybe
say
we were
she's
supposed to
two.
pass one of each
I
around.
have a question. Are we in zoning commit, open meeting,
Yes.
or has the city council adjourned?
City council is not adjourned, we're gonna adjourn it now. and then
Oh,
we'll
okay.
decide,
Okay.
So
So number 9A, I'll need a motion to adjourn as city council of Alcester and meet as the planning and zoning board.
I'll motion to adjourn the city council of Alcester and meet as the planning and zoning board.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We adjourned at 7:19 PM. Now moving on to 9C. This is motion to recommend approval of ordinance 2023-
for first open zoning meeting, so re-announce it at 7:19.
Okay. So now, I apologize, we will reopen at 7:19, and we will be in a zoning, planning and zoning meeting.
And this was publicly noticed, there was gonna be a hearing about the below items, so if there's any input, feel free to speak up about specific things. First, I guess, do the amendment to chapter 4, so this is specifically the setbacks as we discussed, reducing it currently from 25 feet to 7 feet, so I believe everybody has a copy of that amendment and that ordinance in the packet. It's
Is
specifically,
it that one?
Yeah. Chapter 4.
yeah, it's this one.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
And you said the rear yard was the only one that changed, correct?
side yard.
Or side yard, excuse me.
Side yard. So this changes the setback from 25 feet to 7 feet. And this is more on point to what other municipalities in the area have. It just makes it a little easier and probably even brings some buildings that are non-compliant in compliance with it, so.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of ordinance 2023-05 and ordinance to amend chapter 4 residential district of the 2018 revised Alcester zoning regulation.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Now we'll move on to 9E.
So this specifically is the fences ordinance that we discussed in July, but we never got followed up on. So this is specifically referring to setbacks as far as fences. This would require property owners that you get to sign a fence maintenance agreement. And that way there's some cooperation between the neighbors, then you file it with the finance officer and the registry of deeds.
I'll make a motion to recommend the approval of ordinance 2023-06 and ordinance to amend chapter 10. Wait, is this the right one?
Yep.
Yeah, sorry, additional use regulations of the 2018 revised Alcester zoning and zoning regulations.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Now, 9G, motion to recommend approval plat for a plat, title plat of Farmers Elevator Tract in addition of the southeast quarter of northeast quarter and northeast quarter of the southeast quarter, section 28, township 95 north, 5th, PM, Union County, South Dakota.
So this is that quiet title action that the city was issued, sorry, I can't get to rotate, so, yes.
Could you
So-
please speak up, so,
Yep, so this, if, I believe planning and zoning and council approved this, this was that center line ditch from a while ago. This is approving the entirety of the plat, of the quiet title action. So this includes all the way to the north, and then you can see where the railroad tracks go across. This is just the approval of the plat. And all of this is the farmer's elevators property anyway. My understanding is their long-term goal is they're going to get rid of this southern part and sell it to the southern neighbors, so. The litigation itself still isn't closed, but this is another part of it, so.
Okay, so we had the water pole issue up towards the top. Remember when it came down the hill?
Correct.
Is this in their property or is that still in ours?
So that was county
It was a county?
at one time, because the
Yeah.
county and the elevator, when Bill Boyer owned it, they had the mutual agreement of county would supply the material and Boyer would do all the work, and then they would be, that ditch would be filled in, so then the fair could use that for parking.
And
So,
up, right when you go over the railroad tracks is that hole, right?
correct, from the storm
And
drain.
is that that's ours though,
That
right?
is, yeah.
So is that, if this goes to the railroad tracks,
No, it doesn't go to the, so if you can see,
so we're still.
this is the railroad right here. It just states the center line of the existing tracks. That's not actually
Okay.
in these parcels itself. It's just to note it
Okay,
as kind of a reference, but that's not actually.
so we're
included.
probably still not in that.
And this is already there, so this is already the elevator's property. This is just re-verifying and making sure that after litigation, and it also includes this change that we made,
Okay.
because ultimately the larger plat map wouldn't have that distinction.
So there's Clark Street at the top of this, correct? That's still in place?
No, this doesn't include, so
So that we're below that,
we're to the west of that.
west,
So
okay.
this is Iowa Street right here. Clark Street's actually on the east side of that.
But it's also go on the west side of that road.
Yeah.
Because when we had all this stuff with the fair and the elevator, they bought from the railroad on that side, but they did not buy it from the railroad on the west side.
This,
That's where I don't want it to be just under the covers and we don't know what's going on.
let me call Sam quick, because Sam said.
Because there is a residence on West Clark.
Hey Siri, call Sam Nelson.
The other question you want to ask is Iowa Street from the railroad tracks south to South Street, that becomes city responsibility to maintain that and put curb and gutter in. Now, they can charge FCS for that, but I think there was a discussion some time ago where they were responsible because they brought in by, oh God, I can't think of the term, of annexation. And half that street was city responsibility, and the east half was the Union County Fair was responsible for that. I don't know if that street becomes completely the city's and the city control. The city may want to look into that, the legalities of that. And the other thing is that on that map, it's depending on certain entities of the county that their measurements were accurate. It's to the right-hand side of that map in smaller, about midway down, there's a proviso, there's a cautionary that they depended on the information that they were getting from the county as being accurate. So you want to be careful of that wording.
But the thing is I don't even know if, I don't think West Clark Street is dedicated on the west side either. On this. Because the way that it's set up, it's only a singular track. Now, it's split into two on the east side, where it's strictly just the road, and then the southern part.
Yeah,
But
because that's
this
where we got all
envelops
the
the-
variances and everything was on
This envelops
east
the
side.
entirety of it to just the south of the tracks. So it does envelop what would be deemed the west side of Clark Street on the west side of Iowa Street.
So that'd be theirs then.
Correct.
But what about the people that live down there?
Well, they're gonna have rights to the easement, I don't know if there is an easement on that part. But I guess, how are they doing it right now?
They've been pushed and pushed, those people, and then they never know what's going on.
That dirt road,
And that's what
Along that
concerns me,
says West Park.
because that's their entrance into their.
Yep, that's,
their
I think that's the
place.
only
That's
entrance
the
into their,
only entrance
into their farmhouse.
Give me one second, let me try
Vicky,
this.
whose place is that?
Oh, I
And
just-
that's where I'm sorry, I don't trust the others.
Monica's
I
parents,
don't trust what.
Clark,
those-
Clay Clark.
They
Oh,
did that to
Clean Rocks,
them
yeah.
with
Yeah, well, it would be their parents.
Okay.
Was there a couple different homes down that way?
Well, at least one.
I gotta pull this up on a map on my phone too, I gotta see an aerial view of this, I'm getting myself.
Beacons probably.
It's
Yeah.
Cleo and,
Oh, yep, okay.
and that's a, probably
Yeah,
a,
it's the only way
maybe,
into that place.
yeah, and it may be a 100-year farm.
Right.
Pretty sure it probably is.
I'm just trying to.
So that's gonna,
Does it
that's
make it
gonna,
into the historical?
that puts it historical, possibly.
And then.
Y'all need to get his documentation of the deed to prove that, I think.
K and M.
So here you have the road.
There's an,
K through M, that's-
Mather,
So I is where.
Edward Mather
I is where.
was, his map was the one that I've used. I didn't use this one. And his was done in 1957. And that laid it out and stuff, because I'm curious on what happened to the city property that they had leased to the county, south of the railroad tracks.
South, that's how the
So
place.
can we go to the county
But
and
this is-
find out if there's an easement for those people
Yeah.
that use that entrance? There should be something documented.
There should be, it should be on file, but it's so long ago, and I don't,
see any.
I just don't trust them.
I don't,
It's something with their deed, I should think.
It's a
Maybe
mess.
not.
Because
Okay,
this
so
is.
this is,
Yeah, that
okay,
needs
so
that
this is
whole,
like where that little rundown shed is, right?
that one didn't even come into play.
Oh, where,
They
yeah.
would've had no reason to get one.
Yeah, where all the circle things are, and then.
yeah,
This is
okay.
where that one.
Now I'm with it.
I'm not
So-
worried about the bottom, I'm worried about the top.
With the unknown, the verdict is, we're gonna table it for right now. If Sam calls back, we'll have to close city council, re-adjourn into planning and zoning, but as of right now, we need to adjourn the planning and zoning.
Okay, but, so I have a, no, for planning and zoning, K,
So K through like M, that's city.
Yep.
K through M is city.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
so,
have to re-vote on the same thing.
so we have to revote on the same thing.
Okay.
And
Oh,
then,
gotcha. Now I see the
so
motion.
O would be tabled.
I'll make a motion to adjourn planning and zoning and converse to city council.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed, we adjourned planning and zoning at 7:32 PM. We will reopen and convene back to the city at 7:32 PM. So we're reopening back as city council.
I'll make a motion to reconvene as city council.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We'll move on to K. So right now what we're doing is just approving it through the city council as what we discussed in the planning and zoning.
I'll motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 2023-05, an ordinance to amend chapter 4, residential district of the 2018 revised Alcester zoning regulations.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
I'll make a motion to approve first reading of ordinance 2023-06, an ordinance to
amend Chapter 10 additional use regulations of the 2018 revised Alcester zoning regulations.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. With that being said, we have to table the O. So we'll move on to number 10, legal updates with Austin.
Yeah, so B, we don't need public hearing notice, I think that was sufficiently covered in that. The only thing for nuisance properties, and Bruce and I discussed this today, and I know Jeff has been in contact, and we discussed this at the last meeting. I don't know if the city has the manpower to essentially go in and abate the nuisances at a lot of these properties. It's gonna take a lot of time, and, yeah, you get to defray some of that cost with assessments to the property owner, but ultimately, this is gonna come to the head of, hey, there's a lot of nuisances, there's still outstanding nuisances on a few properties that I don't even know what the city wants to do. I mean, you can start taking people to court, but the city's gonna be in a bind here, just with the amount of nuisances we have, and nobody's complied whatsoever, so eventually you have to force compliance.
Just kind of add in on this, Jeff and I did go right around for about 3 hours last week. And it got to the point, threw our hands up and said, you know what, we're wasting our time. Nobody has hardly complied with the letters. A few people complied with some of the letters regarding cutting a tree, you know, that was dead, or trimming something. But, you know, we got houses with porches that are being stabilized by a concrete block, and that's it. You know, there's a lot of houses that need a lot of work, and not very few are compliant. So we're looking at different,
Are these able-bodied people that you know of, that are not compliant?
well, I think, in my opinion, if you're going to drive a brand-new vehicle, and you can afford that payment, you can afford, and you're a homeowner, you should be able to afford to keep up the property.
Yes. I
You know,
agree.
some people, yes, they might be struggling, and I totally respect that, but there are some people that are just being difficult, I believe.
Jeff has gotten some door hangers made, that's kind of the next step. He got an email that they should be ready tomorrow. So either tomorrow or beginning of next week, we're gonna figure out when we're gonna go distribute those and then kind of go from there.
I mean, if you, as a council, if you'd like to do something different, if you have ideas, that's great. But I mean, I have definitely been trying really hard to just kind of get some of these cleaned up, just not only for appearance, but for safety reasons. Our city employees reading the water meters, they don't need to be walking through 10-foot wild trees to get to the water meter, and it's very difficult. People that have dogs, and the city employees got to walk through a bunch of dog crap to get to the water reader. I mean, there's a lot of things like that. I think as a city, we just need to try to improve on.
Can we fine them? And if they don't pay the fine,
They
it goes
would,
against their
yeah.
property?
You can't find them, but typically, I mean, yeah, you can find, let me look and see what our. says about it.
'Cause I
What does
just
the door tag say?
I'm not entirely sure, he just called and said, hey, just following up on this.
So mainly the door tag is going to,
Is it a warning or is it a fine?
no, it's a warning, but it should say you need to comply with this within 10 days, or, you know, even contact the city and tell us what your plan is. But it's going to list out pretty much what the letter stated. You know, if they maybe did one thing out of the 7 things that were on the list, the other things will be listed on what they need to comply with and what ordinance they're breaking. Because all the letters that we sent out, it did show the ordinance that they were, you know, breaking the ordinance against, I guess.
Yeah, because when I said, they all knew.
Yep. So,
So
I think, I'm like, Can't we find them? I mean, I'm sure you can find people and they're not gonna pay anyway either. But what would be the recourse after that?
So we have the ability to abate public nuisances. We can also subject them to a fine not to exceed $500 unless specifically provided otherwise. I'm not aware that we passed a resolution or anything of that sort specifically stating what the fine is. Potentially, that's something the council would want to look into. That way there's a standard fine and people don't feel like, hey,
Yeah.
I'm being fined more than other people. We're giving them adequate notices.
I think there's another thing that's just gonna add in on this, building permits. Several properties are doing construction, and the one, Jet did reach out to the one property, and they said, well, we're too big for the city of Alcester, we don't need a building permit. We need to find the people that have done stuff, and the project is done. Jeff and I ran around town, we found some projects that were already completed. What are you going to do? It's done. Consequences are what? So, I just think moving forward, if somebody wants to get a building permit, great. But as a council, I think you need to review the blueprint of what they're wanting to do and look at, the parcel number and see if it all is going to line up as we see it versus how they're going to see it.
May I
Go ahead.
put some, what about, you talked about fines. Can those be assessed directly to the property taxes?
Yeah, so typically the way that you would want to do it is, so if you just issue the fine, then no, you'd have to go through civil remedies for that because that
Okay.
would be an ordinance violation. However, you have the ability to go onto the property, correct any nuisances on the property, bill the person for the services, and then if they don't pay, then you can assess it according to how our ordinances are set up.
But that's where we're gonna have manpower.
Correct. And it's, even on yard sheds, whatever construction, it is mandatory to have eave troughs and downspouts on your new structures. Even if it's an 8 by 10 yard shed, I mean, it's mandatory.
Are there entities, I seem to remember on a past thing, that the city was going to hire a company out of Sioux Falls to come in and clean this particular house out. And they'd bring in dumpsters and stuff to clean this. I think you know who I'm talking about. If you hire somebody to come in,
Then we wouldn't have to do it.
then you wouldn't have to do it, and then that cost could be assessed against the property.
I mean, that's a very plausible option.
Are they gonna wait that long for payment though?
Yeah, I was like, we'd still have to pay them.
You would, but, like I said, that there, it makes more of a recourse, option, and when the folks start seeing it, if they're too egotistical to, I have to obey the laws and stuff, and, the thing is that they need to.
I don't think that's a bad call either, as far as having an outside entity involved just for
Yeah.
that purpose. Because, we could go in and do it, and that could get kind of dicey, whereas if there's an outside source going and saying, hey, this needs to be done, this is what's going on in here, here's the receipt for what was done, showing what was done.
Yep.
I think if it got to that point, that would be the smarter way to do it.
And you would want to keep all notifications, copies of all notifications, dates, and if you have to get a signature when they're served or whatever, keep that in a folder so that if you do have to go to civil court, that you've got all this documentation, we gave them every opportunity to do this. We had to step in and for community safety, and that would probably be the best heading to put it under and stuff, that, and handle it that way. It's an option. I don't know the name of the outfit that, out of Sioux Falls or whatever, but.
What do other cities do you know?
I think similar to what Vicky's talking about. You know, Jeff did mention that in the past, the city had used Christensen Tree Service, and the city just told them any low trees, you go out and cut, take care of, and then you make note of what it, you know, that costed per job, and then it would get applied towards the homeowner. But, you know, that's another thing. You know, we have a lot of city equipment that is going to hit a lot of trees this winter. Jeff and I rode around in my side-by-side, there's trees that touch the roof of my side-by-side. So when we go with our wheel, you know, wheel loader or plow truck, whatever it may be, do we want our lights ripped off, our LED lights on top? Do we want our CB antennas ripped off? Do we want the corner of our cab crushed? Excuse me. So I mean, there's a lot of things we need to be looking at it, and it's not that we're just particular picking on one person. It's back to safety reasons, you know, we're wrecking equipment, you know, possible of wrecking equipment anyway.
So because it is getting close to winter, we can't obviously tell a bunch of people they can be out of their house for winter. Can we start with like those small things that need to be done for our protection? Like making sure branches are, you know, back, and for like whoever has to do the water billing, making sure those things are cleared up.
If they're hanging in the right of way, we have the right to cut them. Yeah, and there was some nuisance letters, I believe, that you dang near gotta put your nose at the front end of your vehicle out into the right, you know, the other street right away to be able to see. Jared, you're well aware of it too. I know Kyle mentioned a few intersections that are bad.
And it is an ordinance that there needs to be a clear path to the water meter.
Correct.
And I mean, there are just homes that I have to hike through weeds for, and it's just kind of been something that you saw, but it is an ordinance.
Part of this boils down to, they got the letters, but even with the building permits, how are we gonna get this out to people? I mean, a Facebook page will be a big plus. We could put stuff on there, but there are a lot of people don't do Facebook, especially older people. Can't we, this meeting that he wants to have coming up, I think that would be a good
Time to
opportunity.
discuss it.
Time to discuss it.
I can also just post notices out, like at the, I always put things in the
Put it
post
in the
office and
paper
things.
again.
A lot of insurance companies won't approve insurance if you haven't been complying with
No, that's
code, and they don't want to lose their insurance.
Is there any codes for maintenance code? I think we have 2021, which, I mean, we can't recodify it if we need it, but
Jeff was saying there's an updated ordinance that we need to have.
we haven't.
I mean,
I guess for all of those properties that you guys sent out nuisance letters to, are those the ones you're talking about for the trees and the like things, or
Yeah.
is that separate?
there's a few of the trees that, letters that were tree related that they did comply with, which was well appreciated. But there's well over 35 letters that there's nothing done. And they're not little, I mean, you have a garage right next to Linda Talbot, and there's kids right to the north side of family. The roof is laying on the inside of the garage, the walls are bowed out. Who's gonna be responsible if all of a sudden there's a, you know, a wind with a gust up to 35 miles an hour, and all of a sudden that wall goes and there's kids playing? You know, it's back to safety reasons, and of course, who's gonna pay to have that done? Probably the city's gonna have to go through a legal direction of handling it, and then we'll have to tie a lien against the property because we had to get this garage cleaned up. That is a very severe, you know, hazard to the public.
Question on
Yep.
that one, is that one that you're referring to, do you know if the person who lives there is the owner of the house or whether it's rental?
I believe she is the owner.
Okay, I was just curious if we were mailing, with those letters, if it was a rental situation,
Yep.
did they mail them to the homeowner?
It goes to the landlord.
It does go to the landlord?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep. Because there are some letters that I did review, and it was not the person living in the house, but I knew it was who owned the house.
perfect. I was just curious if it was something where maybe the landlord didn't get the letter because the tenant didn't give it to them,
Yep.
but, okay.
And some of the landlords are really good at they take, the landlords will fix stuff,
You know,
most of them.
yeah. The thing is we got some people in town that make comments to the public. You know, if somebody's gonna do something to my house and want me to change something, it's not gonna happen. It's my house. You step a foot on my property, it's this or else, okay? I've heard this on the street. I don't know how that's where we're back to saying, do we have the manpower to be able to handle some of this? I don't think we do. And I mean, we can't throw our police department into that situation and say, hey Jared, go take care of this. Whatever happens, best of luck. We don't want that. You know what I'm saying? It's because it's right back to safety concern in my opinion, so it's court order.
Even with the court order, I don't subvert that to force somebody. I mean, you have a court order, that's great, but I think you're still in that same situation with a court order.
I think if we have something where they don't want to comply with what we're asking, there is something in our ordinance that there is a fine per month, that they break the fine, and then that just gets tied to the property, a lien against the property at some point. I really don't know.
I don't know about a fine per month. Typically, what I've seen in other places, they do a fine, like, hey, you have a fine, or else city has the ability to come in and pay. I know what we discussed with having a third party come in and do that, but initially you might be showing out a decent amount of money until taxes come back on the issue.
You know, the fine, what is it, gonna be
But-
$500?
But if you're maintaining a nuisance and you've already been fined for it, and the nuisance still stays, then you can just refund.
Correct.
I feel like we've been understanding for long enough. You can only, you can write all the letters and hang all the things on the door that want, but the fact is, several of these people are people that, they're not gonna act, they're not gonna do anything.
Correct. 100% agree. They've lived in town for over 20 years. There's enough talk on the street. They know what they need to do on how, you know, if they're going to build on or if they're going to remodel or, you know, the ordinances on, you know, whatever the case may be. They know better.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So do we need to go around with these homes and let them know what they're looking at for a fine? What it could cost them as far as
Well-
if it's put on the property taxes? Make them aware of the fact that it's gonna hurt if they don't.
Well, I
And then
think
they could-
at that point, Carrie, I think you got a very valid point, but I think at first we need to have something set in stone on the legal side of it to protect ourselves on saying, well, is that something you guys just made up, you know? So as a council, if it's something that we discuss and we want to move forward, we would have to, you know, make it a legal ordinance and saying this is the stipulation, it's a fine of so much money. And then that would be attached to the door hanger of what they're not complying with. Just my idea, anyway. Because, I mean, the door hangers that Jeff has made out, yeah, it's great, you know, they're gonna grab it because they don't want the neighbor to see something hanging on their door. So they're gonna look at it and be like, oh, jeez, you know? And how far is it gonna go? Probably to the trash can.
There's no teeth in it.
No, but I feel like there does have to be like, I mean, because when you think about this, like, we're talking about like a few properties, but it hasn't ever been told to the city, like, as a whole, like, hey, we're gonna seriously start enforcing this, like,
That's,
those letters, yes, but those are for like specific properties, but just communication as a whole. So I'm trying to think of like, how do we communicate to every single person in the city? Well, the only way we really do right now is the water bill. Like, every single person gets it. You can't really type a whole lot on there, but somebody does go to every property every month. So is there like a door tag or a sticker or something that we could just put, you know, a small post-it and, you know, whatever it might be, a flyer that the post office, passes out to each mailbox, or something that says like, hey, starting November of 2023, we will be assessing all properties for ordinance violations, and further steps will be taken if necessary, just so that everybody is aware of what's going to be happening.
Okay.
Not that it applies to them, but that everybody is in the know, so that it can't be on the word, like, on
We
the
had
street.
talked about, not for that, but we had talked about, putting it in the paper, because I was, for like the, snow removal.
Yeah.
The vehicles have to be gone, and then with all of that, we had discussed, I believe, putting it in the paper, putting it on the website, and I think even saying something on Facebook.
But all
But-
three of those things, I would say 70% of the population aren't gonna look at.
I agree to a certain, but a lot of people are gonna, that's junk mail too.
What about if we put their water bill in a letter one month?
But I
So we
mean,
gotta
that's,
open them.
that's something on there. 'cause
Yeah, I can put a
sometimes
little
they're-
note on there,
Yeah.
I can also, like, how I have like address labels, I could type up something on a label and put it on the back of the postcard. The problem with putting it in an envelope is,
Yeah.
I already print out the postcards, and then
Oh.
They don't
the
fit in.
postcard is a funky shape to try and put in an envelope.
That's why I was trying to
So-
think of something else. I just was saying that the water bill is the only thing that absolutely every person in town
Yeah.
gets. And for the most part, everybody looks at because they
Can
have
you
to
print
print
it on the back of the water bills?
I
Not very
don't.
much.
So you said you could
know.
stick a label on the back of it?
I could put a sticker on it, yeah. I
That's
could
an
put,
idea.
I mean, there's a little space for a note, and I honestly just put like the PEGA
Yeah.
online thing on there right now. But I could say notice on the back to make sure that people
Flip it.
know that there's something on the back of it, and just print off a whole bunch of labels with longer notice.
I just think it has to start at that point before you can like truly say like we're gonna, I mean, we can do these things at the same time, like simultaneously, but I think the bigger issue is gonna be like, well, I didn't do this and they never said anything to me. Oh, well, I didn't, and that, like you
That's
said,
why
on the
we were
street
talking
talk.
about doing it in different areas as well, because a lot of people do read the paper. More people than I thought do read it, because I have people telling me what's going on in the city, and I'm like, how did you hear that? And they're like, the paper.
Well, why not do it all? I mean,
That's what if
the
you
more
just,
places we post it.
just to
then-
let them know, we're getting serious, and there will be fines to follow.
Yeah.
I mean, it has, because a lot of people that weren't moving their vehicles for the snow. And then they went out and they started towing them.
Got their
Because
attention.
it,
And then they were like, why'd you tell my car? Well, it's over.
I'm just saying, like,
But
sometimes
that's-
people don't realize, like, I know the first year I moved here, we had a low branch, and I would have never known it was, like, under the 12-foot, or whatever it was supposed to be, until I got a letter, and I was like, oh, okay, we need to trim that one branch. But I wouldn't have known otherwise, so,
but I think that putting it out everywhere that we can, I don't see how it could slip through any cracks. And put it put a sticker on the cards and do the newspaper, and then the website will have it.
I mean, the more places we post it to, the less
Is
likely
it
they
there?
can be like, oh, I didn't see it. Well, it was everywhere, so.
Hand it out in the church bulletin.
True.
No.
Most people probably think that.
Snow removal season's right around the corner. There's one property that we have a gravel pile out front of
Yeah.
the house.
I just saw it.
The city's gonna have to get the skid loader and get it off, because it's gonna freeze and we're gonna have to go around it, so I'm just giving you a heads
Why
up.
is that still there?
I even said something to him
About it.
2 or 3 weeks ago, because I know him, who you talking about.
On a person?
And he said, yeah,
Right by you.
I gotta get that moved, but
Yeah,
it doesn't
yes.
move,
The comments been made by a parked car that does not run, said, hey, by the time it starts snowing, if it's not gone.
You see cars sitting around town with a flat tire, and they just sit
When
there.
the campers and they have to be off the street, is it November 1st?
No, I thought it was October.
Into October or something.
Yeah.
just like trash cans, they're not off the street.
I know when I was a policeman over in Remsen, and you even see this going down the interstate where they have those orange stickers that they put on.
Yeah.
Those are a bitch to get off. You put it somewhere where it's really gonna, and we give them a 48-hour notice, and if they didn't, we told them the vehicle would be towed. You start towing them, and they gotta pay to get that vehicle back. They usually make sure it doesn't happen again.
And that's the thing where we had to start telling them. People were parking across from each other on the city street. We can't even plow the street. It's not that we can't go around it, we can't get in between. So, I guess there's not any other discussion on the nuisance properties. We'll move on. Austin, you have anything else in regards to this?
No.
Any other discussion on it? So, we'll move on to number 11, Banner Associates. 11A, motion to approve paying Banner Associates $3,325 for invoice number 40853 from sewer fund.
I'll motion to approve paying Banner Associates $3,325 for invoice number 40853 from sewer fund.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We'll move on to C. 11C, motion to approve pay request number 6, $226,857.95 from the sewer fund.
Is that one that we get reimbursed for, Abigail?
I believe so, yes. The pay requests we send to Harley.
Okay.
So I would be work completed, install underground piping, valves, complete the retaining wall work, coat the aeration basin, complete gas and electrical work, and install process piping. It was also to provide submittals for the progress meeting. Finally, no, I skipped one. Material and equipment, coordinate with the suppliers and subcontractors and attend the construction progress meeting. Finally, it includes stored electrical equipment.
I'll make a motion to approve the pay request, number 6 of $226,857.95 from the sewer fund. Do you want me to read all that?
No.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Who
Opposed?
Who seconded?
Kendra did it.
Oh, excuse me.
Thank you.
Catch that.
That's okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. E, motion to schedule public hearing for CDBG and the DANR 2024 funding application for Tuesday, November 7th at 6 p.m.
Tanya called me an hour before the meeting.
Okay.
We thought we only needed to post it 10 days before the hearing, but we actually need 15
Okay.
for DANR. So we need to postpone that public hearing until the 21st. So I don't know if that's just something that we make a motion to amend that motion, or how we do that, but
Amend the date.
Yep, in the motion.
You said the 21st, Abby.
yes. Okay.
I'll make a motion to schedule public hearing for CDBG and DANR 2024 funding application to Tuesday, November 21st at 6 o'clock.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Move on to number 12, community center discussion. Need a motion to enter an executive session pursuant to SDCL 125-2. I probably need to have that meeting first.
Yeah, so we'll wait till the next meeting for
Yep.
that. So,
D.
D.
So 12D, motion to approve final payment to Vision Construction Group of $24,000.
Is everything done?
No.
So you, council can do whatever you would like to do on this. Jim, the owner of Vision Construction, has contacted me through 4 weeks ago. It was I believe November of last year, he sent an invoice to the city, and it was the final payment. Well, of course, the punch list was completed, and it was signed off. I don't know who signed off on it, but it was signed off. So he did the work he was hired to do. What other issues we have with the community center is not Jim's fault. So it will fall back on the architect. And I believe from this standpoint, we missed our time for a lot of warranty work. And the warranty work would have fell back on the poor design of things. So with that being said, he said he could have been charging the city interest. He did not. But if the city would not like to pay it, he will take legal action against the city.
If he did what he was supposed to do and that was fine, and it was based on whatever the architect or whoever did the design work, that's really not his fault. I don't feel like we should withhold payment to him.
You know, there's complaints of the cart shed. You know, it's all dented up, the siding looks really bad. It's not his problem.
Yeah.
Because the architect designed it,
And he designed the material.
and he said, this is what we're using.
It's just buckled.
It's, I won't say it's buckled. You know, it's, drive back past it in the dark and it looks like a hailstorm came through. I mean, it looks really terrible. And one of our, you know, and the thing is, Jim made the comment, one of the aldermen here said it was okay, so they accepted it and we kept moving on. So, I don't know what alderman, but somebody did make the comment that the city was gonna accept it. Don't know if that's the case, but from this standpoint, you know, I talked to some of the people that have donated thousands of dollars to this. They would like the city to take legal action and get a lot of this poor design issues fixed, that, you know, whatever it takes.
To me, this is almost two separate issues at this point. We need to pay this guy and then we need to go
Correct,
after.
and it is. But the reason why this is not paid is because the comment was made, we were gonna use this as leverage to get everything fixed. Well,
But
that's
if it's not his problem, we can't
Yeah.
leverage him when it's not his problem.
correct.
Let's get him paid.
Yeah.
You know, we have, the money's there, 60-some thousand in the account, so we do have the money to pay it.
I'll make a motion to approve final payment to Vision's Construction Group of $24,000.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. 12F is motion to approve bond payment of $7,486.53 due on November 1st, 2023.
I'll make the motion to approve bond payment of $7,486.53 due on November 1st, 2023.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
I'm sorry, before we move on to the community center, in your packets, we got a actual quote from the guy who inspected our sprinkler heads. It was kind of mentioned last time, and we got the official invoice. I will have Dave add it on to the next agenda to actually approve if we're gonna move forward paying them, and then
Yep.
if we're gonna move forward with them as our annual inspection. I just wanted to point out that is in your packet. That's what we had talked about last
Okay,
time. That's why it's there.
so, thank you. Number 12, the annual liquor license renewal. Of course, like Total Stop needs it, you know, the city gives them their, I don't know if the council has had a lot of time to review this. I know it was sent out in the email for the most part. It's pretty much the same thing as it has been in the past years besides Total Stop. Dave was saying that he talked to Eric.
They want to take malt liquor off and only have the,
They're not renewing the wine retailer's
Yeah.
license number RW 21493.
right.
When is the lease up on the bar?
Lease is up in December.
December.
Since they signed on in September, normally it would run from January to December. We gave them an extra couple months at the end, so it'll be for renewal January. Or I guess we could discuss it in December.
But even if they bought it, let's say, we'd still have to do the license, correct?
We still have to approve the
Absolutely,
license.
yeah.
No matter what, we'd still have to renew the license.
And I didn't include the actual license that you're approving in your packet, but I did copies here if anyone particularly wants to look at it. It's just a form that the state sends out. Nothing fancy.
Any other discussion? Do we need an executive session pursuant to any of this?
I do have a question.
Yep.
I work at one more. Do I need to abstain from voting on either of the things involved with that?
I would say yes.
Okay. I figured so. I just wanted to double check.
Yep. So probably should do a roll call.
So wait, this is for the grocery store.
The first one.
Correct.
Yes, sorry. I just wanted to make sure we'll get down to those ones.
Yep, yep.
We need to renew all the license, so
Yeah,
there's.
they're all renewed.
So I just want this paper.
So
There's nothing on it.
I don't think we need a roll call for all of them, but with what Julia said, 13F, the motion to approve renewal of the package off-sale license of one more bar, we're gonna probably need a roll call on
We
that.
probably have to do
F
F
and H as
F
well.
and
Yes.
H, yeah.
Yeah.
Just go through D initially, then just call them over each.
Okay. Well,
Do I mean it?
You said with
We do-
roll call
we-
for each?
no,
Oh, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve renewal of retail on-sale liquor license for Alcester Municipal Golf Course.
I'll second it.
any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Next.
I'll make a motion to approve the renewal of package off-sale liquor license for one more bar with roll call vote.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? Brian?
Aye.
Julie abstained. Cindy?
Yay.
Darla?
Yes,
Kendra?
Yes.
Carrie?
Yes.
5 yes, 1 abstained. So motion passed, we'll move on.
I'll make a motion to approve renewal of retail on-sale liquor license for one more bar with roll call vote.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? If not, Brian?
Aye.
Julie abstained. Cindy?
Aye.
Darla?
aye.
Kendra?
Aye.
Carrie?
Aye.
5 yes, 1 abstained.
I'll make a motion to approve renewing the retail off-sale liquor license for the Alcester Groceries Incorporated / Total Stop Food Store, number 476.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Number 14, golf course discussion. I believe, let's see. So in the back of the handout there, there's a John Deere Gator that just a little two-wheel drive. They would like to use this on the golf course. It is just a lease. It is not a purchase to buy. I know there has been some comments made throughout the council that maybe we should consider buying something like this instead of leasing it, which, not a bad idea, but I'm not, maybe for right now, we could lease for the first year. But what this is a John Deere Gator, two-wheel drive. The city would lease it from Grosenberg's for $912 for the 10 months, not per month.
That seems extremely high.
No, for the combination of 10.
Not per month.
I
This is
called
for the
Lonnie
10
before we.
months.
Oh.
So
It's
$99.
Oh, okay,
$99.
Yeah, at
Oh,
one
I
time.
know, I was looking at
Like,
going,
that's
I
ridiculous.
know, that's the
that's what I thought. I was like,
Because it says 912 per month.
Correct.
No.
It's just
I
right
called
now.
Lonnie right before.
Oh,
And he
okay.
said, no, I could have a pretty nice vehicle.
That's-
for
yeah.
So the benefit of doing this is we free up another golf cart to rent out. What's one more golf cart? Not a lot, but it's one more that we didn't have before. But we need to look at options possibly on getting.
Because we
more
ran out of
carts.
golf
Yeah.
carts this year.
Yeah.
And there, since this is a, since this is a lease, are we covered more so as far as maintenance and repairs than we would be?
The general maintenance
Outright,
breakdowns,
okay.
yes, that would be
Okay.
covered under the factory warranty. But if it's something that one of our operators did, correct, it would be the city's responsibility at that standpoint.
Would we still have to insure it?
Or if our insurance blanket would not insure it,
Oh,
yes, we'd
okay.
have to have it, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason he put it now is you have to order it. We have to order now.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
why.
Well, I'll motion to approve rental of a John Deere Gator TX 4x2 maintenance vehicle from Grosenberg Equipment at a cost of $912 for a duration of 10 months.
I'll second it.
Any other discussion?
He did also say that they would use this at golf tournaments and put the beverage in the back versus trying to get another cart and carry that. I guess we have a wagon, but they said they don't hardly use it because they don't have enough of everything. So they would put coolers in the back and drive it in this. He did say that.
Might be something that we want to ask Lonnie, but, you know, if there's be an option that we could buy it after 10 months, you know, just to see what
Yeah.
buyback would be. That's, if not, that's fine, but I'm just saying maybe we could put that out there so we, you know, the alderman would know. So, any other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Number 15, city government open forum night. Discussion on this. Dave came on board, had the idea that the city would meet up at the clubhouse, event center room, and pretty much it'd be city staff, you know, aldermen, finance officers, whoever would like to attend. It'd just kind of be a fun night out, try to bring the public to a different environment. It won't be necessarily a meeting. If they wanted to particular talk to one person about something, they could. Just hang out, have a good night, you know, that's what it's in regards to. So, 15B would motion to approve open forum night at the Clubhouse Event Center Room on Monday, December 11th from 6:30 to 9 p.m. with an alternate weather date of Wednesday, December 13th.
I'll make a motion to approve open forum night at the Clubhouse Event Center room on Monday, December 11th from 6:30 to 9 p.m. with an alternate weather date of Wednesday, December 13th.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? I think we do need to get this advertised and out there to the public as best as we can in regards to what we're doing and what benefits there are to coming out. No other discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Number 16, city insurance policies. So, I don't have a lot of information on this. I don't know if you do, Austin, in particular. I know Dave was working on some of this, and of course with Dave's brother passing away, he kind of left on a short notice, which is totally understandable, and I apologize, I'm not fully 100%, you know, on all the details of this. So
I could just stick this on the next agenda.
I think we should probably table it, so then everybody has a clear understanding what, you what it is in regards to.
I have the policy, I don't know what necessarily we discussed about
That's,
here.
exactly.
So,
So number 16 will be tabled till the following meeting. Moving on to number 17, Street Department, proposal to amend city ordinance chapter 7.04, speed restrictions to include a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit within the mobile home park. So there was some new signs put up, and I believe there was a sign put up at 25 miles an hour. And there were some complaints, and so they would like to reduce the speed down to 15, is how I understand it.
Yeah, talk to me about it.
So,
Yeah, I talked to Dan about it,
Yep.
he thought it was too high.
yep, so it's not a big change. That's what it is.
I'll make a motion to amend city ordinance chapter 7.04 speed restrictions to include 15-mile-per-hour speed limit within the mobile home park.
I'll second it.
About the specific language, I didn't know anything about this.
Yeah.
So,
Cannot
This
do
is just-
anything on it.
Oh,
this
okay.
is just a discussion.
Yeah.
I can draft an ordinance, and
Yeah.
I'll do it Friday, so.
Yeah.
So,
Do
we'll,
we have trouble in there? People go through there and drive by.
no, I just don't really think there was much for signs posted in certain
Oh.
areas, and people didn't really know the situation, and now they see the new signs, and they're like, oh, 25 miles an hour,
Okay.
you know,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, you're only talking about one block in length.
Yeah.
They don't need to be going that fast in one block.
I hope no one's
How do
whipping
you-
around the trailer park
how
at
do you
25
even-
miles an hour.
How do you even get to 25 miles an hour unless you got it?
Oh, I know, it's like a curve, yeah.
Hammer it and drop the clutch.
Drifting.
So we're.
I think we're all in agreement that it needs.
Correct. We just gotta get on the legal side. So, if not, no other discussion on that, we'll move on to 17D, motion to approve payment of street sweeper in the amount of $12,791.58 due November 1st, 2023.
I think that was already in the budget too,
Yep.
wasn't it?
Should have been, yep.
I'll make a motion to approve payment of street sweeper in the amount of $12,791.58 on November 1st, 2023.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Opposed? Motion passed. Street sign discussion. Wow, a lot of complaints.
No, I have,
About the new signs?
Yes. What it is a state grant through state of South Dakota, pretty much statewide through, the state. It is funded through the state. Some signs might be a little too high, but the reason for that is if there's a car following another car, they can see the sign. The reason for how they put some of the signs, I'm not 100% on, but there's been quite a few complaints about them. Not really sure why. Something that people want to complain about, I guess.
I don't have
What's the pro- I
complaints
don't-
on them.
What's their issue with the sign?
Some people didn't feel that the sign should have ended up in their yard because there was not a sign there before. So they don't want a sign, they don't want a mower on that post or weed eat. That's one of the complaints. 3 other complaints. I can't mow around it because it's too close to the curb, then it's too close to the city street. And before they could mow past it, well, now their mower deck is too wide. Another guy complained to me that sign is right where I park my pickup. I can't drive up on my yard in the wintertime and get off the street for snow removal. I mean, it's an ongoing complaint.
Are they
This is
within,
not what I can kind of see, I guess.
are the sign, as long as they're complaining, is the sign literally on their property, or is it where we
It's
own it over from the
It's in the
highway?
city right away.
Yeah, it's in the same
Oh,
right
well, then they can't.
There's a lot of
complain.
people that don't.
Next.
Here's the thing, a lot of people don't understand this. You do not own your yard to the city.
Right.
Go ahead, Jared.
I have a complaint about them.
Go ahead.
The 5th and Union one is backwards.
Okay?
Well, I called Lonnie before this because I got people asking me, why did the city do this? I said, I didn't even know we've never talked about it.
Yeah, I
And
didn't know
Lonnie
either.
said it happened quite a few years ago. And this was a grant, and he said they will make a list of what's wrong with some of them, and they'll come back and fix it. not probably take it out.
No.
But if there's he said there's
So
still
company
some,
came in and did this.
yeah,
Well,
company.
yeah.
He said it was a grant, it's basically all over the state. He
It's in the
said.
city right away. It's in the city right away.
The only
I have
complaint I have
people
is
that-
fire lane.
I have people that want the old signs. That's what I had talked to Lonnie about and had them put this on. Was not for the complaints because I didn't know people were complaining. But
That's
I
okay.
had, people would like to know if they can, and Lonnie said we had to do it because we had to ask the attorneys if we can give those signs out, because he said there's several other people that spoke to him and wanted their street sign. So he wanted to make sure if it was legal for them to put the street signs on a table in the hall so that
Do they
a
still have
person-
them or did they take them?
No, they still have them all.
I have no idea off the top of my head.
And because I know you can't do street signs and stuff, but I didn't know if you could do the literal street names.
I think if we declared them surplus, we
Yeah, and
could do
because I
whatever
have,
we wanted with them.
there's like several people that wanted,
Auction them off.
and actually Dave said he wants one of each, so he can put them in his garage and map out the city on his wall.
So.
oh, that's a lot.
I don't know, a number of years back when we got new Christmas decorations, there was a number of people that wanted the old ones. Well, you can't just give them away, you have to surplus them,
Yeah.
just so they bring $1 is what I understand.
My initial thought is yes, yeah, you just have to surplus.
Just advertise it as surplus so everybody has an equal opportunity to bid on it.
I do have a complaint about
But
the
to
one.
bid on just one, if they just want, is that what you're saying?
I don't know, we're gonna have to itemize what signs, we're gonna have to itemize the details out, or,
Yeah, and it would have to be listed as surplus of
Correct.
each individual, like Iowa
Sign.
Street sign.
Oh,
like,
boy.
Whatever street sign.
it's city property.
Yeah.
Would it be enough to put it to bid to say, starting on this date, they will be on sale in City Hall and first come, first serve? Does that count?
We still have to declare them all surplus.
Like, you still have to
Yeah.
declare them surplus, but when it comes to like
Well,
making
like
sure
$1
everybody has
a piece.
opportunity
That
to
would be a
bid,
good way to make,
does that?
especially.
$1, the metal is worth more than that.
Lonnie said he didn't think we'd get much from
Oh.
Yeah, like,
it. I guess we already discussed
Couldn't we
that too.
surplus them in a lump sum as long as we designated it that way?
I think, but everybody who lives on that street, oh, you mean
They're
surplus,
all
sorry.
fighting.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it,
Yeah.
think about it until the next meeting,
Mhm.
and then we'll make a decision at that point.
Good call.
Give us some time.
Down on the
I want to
corner
look
of
at the specific signage language as well, because there are some statutes regarding it.
While we're talking about streets, signs, whatever, I talked about this a couple years ago. Our streets that, like, say, First Street, going each direction where the street is wider, there's a lot of people that don't know that there's a right and a left side of the road. And I'd like to see some painted lines down the center of the streets, on the wide streets.
What rights do we have Broad and what other ones?
Well, you got
Church Street.
Church, you got,
Oh.
First
Oh,
Street,
yeah,
Lincoln
you're
Drive,
right.
you got, there's a number of streets
No, but
that
I
I
get
don't
what
think
you're
any streets
saying.
have lines.
they used to. Yep. Because some of the chip seals coming off, and you can see the white, the lines down the center of the street.
wow.
Yep, yep.
On the corner of First and Church Street, if you drive down that street and you look for the stop sign that's right behind the utility pole, what good does that do?
Yeah, that's
You
not a
just
good
can't
sign.
see it.
Yep.
So can't that one be moved one way or
That's
another?
what you probably need to tell Lonnie.
Stick it on the utility.
First and Church,
If I may say something,
yes.
on Second Street and Broad, that stop sign that faces toward the north, it's on the west side of the street. You can't see that because there's a tree branch
Behind the tree branch.
right
I
behind
saw
a
that
tree,
too.
yeah,
Going back to.
sorry.
Yeah, thanks, Vicki, for bringing up the trees. Going back to the trees, I think the easiest is the city's just gonna have to start clipping them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
However we wanna do it, we wanna hire someone to go around and do this.
they've done it before.
We have done it many times, I think the city's just gonna have to
Make
start
sure.
doing it,
Yeah.
so. Thanks for the input there, Vicki.
But I know that.
We've come full circle.
So, anything else, Austin, I can roll that up?
No, from what I see, nothing wrong with getting rid of signs, but yeah, there's no surplus.
Okay. We'll think about it between now and next meeting, have something on the agenda, you can say something, Dave, I'll say something, Dave, and then we'll make a decision how we want to surplus it. Any other discussion in regards to that? If not, we'll move on. Number 18, park and pool discussion. So,
I just asked for this to be put on here. We've talked about putting the 3 posts in the upper area. I talked to Lonnie today about this, and Lonnie said, I had that idea 6 years ago. And he said, I was told by the lifeguards we can't do it. And I said, too bad, insurance says we need to do it.
The lifeguards told us?
Yeah, the lifeguards told him we couldn't do that.
Oh,
He said it was
is that
about
what they
6 years ago, he said. But the reason I looked at some of these things, I went to the park on Sunday. When I talked with insurance, she did tell me that we have to be proactive. And we have to fix things, or when there is a claim, it will not be made. They won't pay. She told me of 2 incidences. One of them was out here with the dumpster. That dumpster right out here rolled and hit an individual's car and dented it, and it was windy. Our insurance would not pay because it was our fault that it wasn't a fence around it. Now, it belongs to the thrift store, I guess, so it would be their insurance. But she said that's a prime example. So I talked to her about this incident at the pool, and she said signage is very, very important. So putting those 3 posts in up there, putting the bike rack over there, because we were not covered on that bike because we were negligent where the bike rack even was. So putting the bike rack back over there, put the picnic table up there, and order a sign that says not responsible for bikes. Something like that on the fence, we're covered. So that's kind of where that's at. So I went down and looked. Well, it all started, my grandson went into the bathroom and came out and said, that's disgusting. And he's 3. And I thought, I don't know if I want to go in there. But we do need a janitor yet. And so I went there on Sunday and I cleaned both bathrooms. They weren't horrible. Our fixtures in both our bathrooms are really quite good. Good sinks, good stools. The men's urinal was plugged, and water, when you cleaned it, runs out.
It's been plugged since the beginning of the season. I've been fighting with it.
It's got something wrong with it, yeah. They need painting. I talked to Lonnie about that. Lonnie said that was supposed to happen 2 years ago and never happened.
I don't think those have been painted since I was a kid.
The insides need to be painted, and the doors are in bad shape. There again, I mean, painting's not going to be an insurance issue, but that door could be. Went down to the big shelter. The siding on that big shelter is not good. Really, the roof is good in it. So I don't know, it's something we're gonna have to look at. I don't think it's a hazard, but I think that storeroom could be a hazard. So maybe there's a way we could take that wall out in there and just push it all the way back. Because somebody could, it's not locked, so
They used to break into that all the time.
maybe we could take the wall out or something,
Just
so
make
it's
it an
just
open
a.
air.
Because you couldn't even keep the door, every time they fixed the door, it would get kicked in. And then we also had the issue with the
Oh,
Attic.
the attic, and they fixed that.
Yeah, the
They
ceiling
screwed
doesn't
the
look too
thing
bad, yeah.
And no, because that's where they used to go.
But that needs a posting to be painted. They look rough.
And it's full of Christmas lights.
Oh, it is
Yes.
bad.
Yes.
So then I went up to the new shelter. That one isn't too bad. There was a screen broke, or a storm window, and I let Lonnie know that. I dumped the garbages, and I sent Lonnie a text, and I said, bathrooms are clean, shelter's swept out. I don't know when you plan to close them down. but I'm just letting you know. I think they're clean, let's shut them down, shut the water up, it's getting cold. He told me he closed them down today. So they're all, so if anybody would come to you, I mean, we could open them back up if they, but there's a calendar in there was nothing on the calendar for November. So I figured it's cold now, I don't think.
What they normally do is keep it locked, and if somebody wanted to use it, they would come to the city office.
Anyway. But my biggest concern is that bench. It's to the side, I asked Vicki before it started, and it's got the bricks that people donated on the side. I don't even know where that came from. I know the bench was damaged a few years ago and that was fixed by our insurance, but that has fallen apart.
Is there a plaque on that? I thought there was a
Well, the
plaque.
bricks have the names, and they're,
Oh,
but
yeah.
the top is falling off, and if kids
Yeah.
climb on that, they could get hurt.
Yeah.
So Pat had done it had to be fixed by like a masonry something.
Yeah, I bet it does.
And she had not found anybody that was willing to do the work. I don't know how far or where that went to, but I know that it was discussed at our very first budget meeting.
I wonder if Dan Water would be able to do stuff like that. Doesn't he do cement work? You know?
There's a guy that's working on the old car wash, or it would be Liza's old building on Main Street. He's been doing a lot of that water tank,
That's what I think it is.
that tuck
Did
point,
you
you
look
wanna
at
call it. Yeah, I did. And I think he would probably be, we could talk to that guy. He's been working down there for the last week. He might have the experience to be able
The
to
old
do
gas
it.
station.
Yep. So, one of you would like to reach out to him, or I could, but we could have him take a look at it. Speaking of tuck pointing, what would you like to do with the Alcester barn? South side, the wall, it does not meet code, it does not meet code. It's really bad shape.
Do we wait to see what they decide to do as far as, I know there was talks of them purchasing?
We'd still have to offer it probably through a real estate company and, yeah, can you just sell it off particular to somebody, or can you do that, Austin?
You can, you have to go get three people to appraise it, or both will.
Isn't that the same issue with that house that doesn't meet code that's not selling now? Because it doesn't meet code.
They're real.
So if this building doesn't meet code, then how will it be sold?
Good luck trying to get, good luck trying to go through the process. If it doesn't meet code.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it has to be fixed.
I've seen people try to sell them without meeting code.
I know when Pat was here working for the city, it was Pat and I and Jeff, we all went down there and looked at it, and it's bad shape.
West wall?
The south
The
wall,
south wall.
between the cafe.
Oh.
So, that's another whole situation to worry about, I guess, but we need to think about it. Just another expense for the city.
Are we
But-
still advertising for a janitor or not? Okay, so we're,
I need to make new advertisements because, I mean, with the way positions have been changing.
Right.
I just need to update some new posters and send them out. But yeah, we are still advertising for a janitor. And actually, kind of related to that, Dave had received a call from, I think, Kellerland. We had paid for the $99 posting, but they had a special deal for a different kind of posting that was 300, I think, 200, 300, but it posts for 4 months. We have unlimited postings and they'll blast it out to multiple sites. So I just remembered that we had opted for that one for the police posting, and I will make sure that the custodian's on there as well.
Sounds good.
and if you know of any handyman, that's where we're kind of, the community center has got new soap dispensers to put up, but, and I don't blame them, they said they're not doing it because it goes into cement. They need a handyman, so We need some kind of,
I just need someone to drill, like, use a hammer drill and hang them up.
yeah, they said they will not do it. They're not gonna be responsible.
My dad could do it.
I was gonna say, there's probably a bunch of us in this room that could
Well,
probably.
go just go tell them that, because they won't do it.
Well, they probably don't
And we've got the AED too, and I did talk to Jeff, he's gonna help us train, but we do have to get it up in the hallway, it's not doing any good in the office.
Who is responsible for the monthly inspections, the annuals?
The annuals will be us.
Okay, because they are supposed to be inspected every month as well.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
Well, and I know they were waiting to see what kind this was, so we get all of the city ones on the same battery year, right, Abigail?
Yeah, it's,
That,
So,
I don't even know if that particular one is available anymore. Most of the, I think the best thing to do there is see what the ambulance service is currently using, because when you do that, they can, the pads are interchangeable between the unit and what would be on the ambulance. And I think a lot of them have gone over to the life packs, which I think that's a hard start. Some ambulance services have the hard starts, but I think the majority have.
yeah, I don't know about them, I just know that we've got the new one for the community center.
Do we know what kind, do we know what that was?
It's there, but I don't know what it is. We gotta get it up though,
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah.
And it's got the battery, it's ready.
There is a company out of Sioux Falls that I've been involved with several different organizations. I know they already come to town because I think they might still work with Alco to, Justice, Fire, and Safety. They still come in and do.
yes, they're
So-
the ones who run our security, or our
Yes,
fire
they will
system.
come in and do all of that too. I've brought them on board with several companies. They're really reasonable. They don't charge, a lot of those medical companies just charge for the trip. They do not do that. If they change anything, then they charge, but as far as just the service,
Checking it.
that, and you said they're already coming here.
They do our like fire security system.
Okay. And I know they're certified to do the AED stuff as well.
That's all I have, but I just,
For the community center, and this is just to throw it out there for you guys to think about, because we haven't hired for the custodian position, and now that we're hiring for the deputy finance position, to kind of increase the amount we're able to pay for that position. I was thinking about the custodian position since, there isn't a ton to do with that position, and it is only, it's a limited amount of hours, and their responsibilities is, basically vacuuming in here, vacuuming the hallways, taking care of the park and that kind of stuff. And you did it this summer, correct?
Thank you for picking up where I left off.
I just thought, let's just get it closed down, because kids
Yeah.
just stick around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so I don't know if it was like a hindrance to your job or not,
No,
but I
it was
just wanted it out there
yeah.
for discussion to see if we would even consider just removing that position and then taking the budget for that position and adding it to be able to open without actually like impacting our finances. It would allow that money to kind of help increase that if those duties could be offset to either the deputy finance officer or if there was another person who could, when they mow the park, could they take up the trash or, different things like that. I'm not saying it has to be removed as a position, just something for you guys to think about it, since it's been open for quite some time now.
I think the reason, most people don't apply for it because it's really just maybe 5 hours a week tops.
Yes.
So who's gonna take on that position for so few hours?
Right.
One thing up at the park too is, there is a bad weed problem. Around every building, it's a lot of weeds. And even that, they need to be sprayed so it's some kind of, somebody could do that even.
Yeah, and Short has, I think, finished up for the season. I think he has one more mow he was going to do, but he finished up. I think a month ago, he's just waiting for
Yeah,
one
the grass
last.
isn't bad, it's just, yeah.
Well, one of us will try to reach out, you can see if anybody has ideas who can maybe help out, fixing them, whatever it may be. Let's communicate within each other and try to figure something out. So, Any other discussion on the park and pool? If not, we'll move on to executive session if needed. We do not need that, so moving on to 20, reminders, next council meeting Tuesday, November 7th at 6 p.m. BFW Post 6149 Bingo at Alcester Hudson High School, Sunday, October 29th. And C, City has Meals on Wheels, October 23rd through the 27th. So
If anyone can volunteer, please do so. Any hands are fabulous.
anyone else have reminders, updates? If not, we'll move on to the last. Need a motion to adjourn the council.
Oh, we're having too much fun, why would we not do that?
Talk more trees.
Signs, more branches, by chance?
Trees.
Do we have a motion to adjourn the council?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And I'll
council.
second it.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. We adjourn the council at 8:44 p.m.